BNN sat down with Mr. Peach and Coach T to discuss usage of social media. In this episode, they hone in on general etiquette.
Whatever you do after high school that's seriously worth doing, whether it's a sports scholarship of some sort, or a really good job, or honestly asking someone out on a date. We live in a situation now where it's highly likely that whoever you're trying to convince that you're worth recruiting is going to look you up on social media. It's just how it works. And if your social media presence gives that person the impression that you're more trouble than you're worth, or just the tone of how you go about conversations is generally unhelpful or even toxic, or even just that you're going to get a job where spelling is important and you go about your posts like spelling isn't important. It's like a bumper sticker that the whole world can see. It gives people an impression of who you are before they've even met you.
Well, it's like anything else, it can impact it positively or negatively, and so we want to focus on what's positive. For us, and if I'm the student athlete, so I'm going to answer like it's that perspective more than the Mount Jewett football page. There's certain things that I want in my bio to begin with. I want to make sure that I've got my highlights, and even when I'm doing my highlight link, there's a certain criteria to how you want to set that up. You don't want it to be too long. You don't want it to include scrimmage film, and they kind of know these things. And that's because you got to think about college recruiters and just the sheer amount of film that they look at over this short period of time during the signing period. So that's in there. Obviously, you want it to be professional, just like you're interviewing for a job. It's no different.
Setting your profile to private does multiple things. What it does not do is insulate you from the world. If you're going to post in a certain way simply because you feel like your stuff is only available to your true friends and your true family, what you need to ask yourself is this: do you 100% trust every single one of these people? And often if someone's on social media, you're talking about hundreds of people that you're connected to. Do you absolutely trust that those people would not take something you said that they didn't like and show everybody else they know? And that has happened to me, and it sucks.
To some extent, but then I guess there's probably going to be question marks as to why it's private in the first place if you're promoting yourself. If I were giving advice to a teenager, I would say keep it open so that they know that, obviously you don't have anything to hide, and that and they're getting to see you, not just your highlight reel, but they're getting to see your entire life and how you handle certain things. And that's why I always say be honest on there too.
I don't think it's necessarily that helpful for anyone to tell someone else what you should or shouldn't put on social media. I think it's more helpful to tell people to strongly consider what they're accomplishing in their communication style in general, social media or not. So number one, is what you're putting out there a true representation of how you feel about stuff, or are you constantly being ironic and sarcastic? And if you're constantly being ironic and sarcastic, a lot of the people that would see your stuff, number one, don't get it. Number two, might be recruiting you for some sort of position or job where that is not the way you work with people at all, but that's the impression they get from you. And your excuse would be, I don't really mean it. It kind of doesn't matter. If somebody's coming to break into your house and you try to hurt that person and you end up seriously hurting your family instead because you miss what your intent was, kind of doesn't matter. People got hurt, right? People that you loved got hurt. People that you cared about. It's unintended consequences. It's innocent bystanders. A lot of times, what you say, if you're only thinking about attacking somebody, a lot of times you don't realize who else you're attacking that you don't mean to. So number one, make sure that what you're saying is actually genuine to who you are. Number two, don't overexpress in a way that makes you seem unreliable, overly flighty, too much about yourself, or too down on yourself. Because chances are, if someone you don't really know is looking at your social media, you're kind of selling the product that is you to that person. And you need to do a fair job of that.
You know, there's a lot of times where I'll look at something and get, you know, I'm a passionate person, I'm a competitive person, so I can get pretty animated. And sometimes, you know, the best thing to do is type it out and put it in your draft and makes you feel better about things, but at the same time, it's not fired and out there for everybody, because you only have so many characters, right? You're only able to write so much, and so that's maybe a microcosm of what you truly believe, and you might not be able to. I know you can screenshot, you know, larger things with your notepad, but I think in the end, if you're that strongly convicted about something, usually the face-to-face conversation is the better way to go.
The question that Colt Means just asked is it just about what you put out, or is it also about what you're associated with, what you like, what you click on, what you're connected to, the people you're connected to? Is that worth something? Holy cow, that's a fantastic question. That also just came up. We're starting a Rocket League team here at Mount Juliet High School, and I put it out there for my students to friend me up on Rocket League, so if they wanted to practice up for the Rocket League team for here at the high school, we totally could, because I just started playing it. And then one student did send me a friend invite on Steam for Rocket League, and I accepted it, and I didn't know it was one of my students, and then I saw the profile picture. It was not an appropriate profile picture for a teacher to be closely associated with, so I immediately unfriended that person on Rocket League. And so the student pops up to class a couple of days ago and says, "Hey, Mr. Peach, are you still letting people connect to you on Rocket League?" I said, "Yeah, why? What's your name?" And he told me, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's not going to happen as long as your profile picture is like that. Or even just, you know, you like something that somebody says. So for instance, maybe I don't slam somebody that I'm close to in the school system, but somebody else personally slams somebody I'm connected to in the school system. If I click like on that statement, yes, that's going to be taken as an endorsement of that statement. So I might as well have said it too. It's not a good call. Sure, you might agree, but unless you're willing to be understood as agreeing with those things in front of everybody, you might want to leave it alone.
If you retweet something or like something, that means you endorse it. You know, whether you do or not, or whether you feel that way or not, that's the way people are looking at it. Prospective job, you know, CEOs and those kind of things, they're looking at it that way. College entrance people are looking at it that way. Coaches are looking at it that way. So you've got to treat it that way.